I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today, you can't get rid of him.
Right, it's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
And here we go. And here we are. Hopefully you all see this because I got a big fat 0 in the corner of my screen. But, oh no, I'm watching on another screen and it's playing. So we're good. We're good. For some reason, StreamYard's not picking up some information for me. But I could see your chats. Let's welcome Jacob Finnegan. That once was a man named Jacob Finnegan. And then there's Harlan Abraham. Everybody's being friendly and reminding people to hit the like button. I love that stuff. There's no hotline tonight, but I got to bring that back. Joe Buddha is in the house. I love me some Joe Buddha from Major League Baseball. Be nice to me, Joe Buddha. Hit the ball. Mets, the original snacker, is in the house. What's going on, my brother? Hank G is here in the house. Here's a guy that you all know. We'll see him in a few seconds. And let's see. Oh, look at this. I'm having some trouble already. F-16 jet fuel. I love it, man. That's the real fuel. That's the real fuel. Gary is in the house. What's going on, Gary? Good to see you guys. Hank G, did I say hello to you? I think I said hello to Hank G, but you know. So many names, so many people. Ant Jets is here. What's going on? My man Anthony, how you doing? Good to see you. New York Jets superfan is in the house. We got a great show tonight. I don't want to brag. I think it's a great show. We got some great guests. Okay, so I'm going to humble myself. I don't know that it's a great show because of me. I'm saying that my guests are great, okay? And we're going to start with my great, great co-host. You guys know him. He doesn't play around. He's going to be a little distracted because we got overtime for the Rangers. But I think that we'll have enough of his attention to get something done. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Y2K99.
You know, Jeremy, I was playing the radio today at work, and I found myself on the R&B station playing some classic R&B, and an old song by The Temptations came on, one of their more underrated songs called Ball of Confusion. That's what the world is today. And one of the hook lines sung by the great Melvin Franklin, one of the greatest bass singers of all time, goes like this. And the band played on. And the band has been playing the same tune for seemingly the last month now. You know, Aaron, the Groundhog Rodgers, emerged from his cave. He emerged from the dark, and everybody following the saga is still in the dark. We've been taking our own darkness retreats for the last 4 weeks, figuratively speaking. We still don't know what's going on. Aaron Rodgers, you are the catalyst. Make up your mind one way or another so the rest of us can have a little peace at night. Please. The band needs to play a new tune because they're playing the same old song, and it's called Aaron Rodgers, What Will You Do? It's time for a decision. Go on ESPN. Find a boys and girls club like LeBron James did, but make up your mind already. How many more days in the dark do you need? How are you today, Jeremy?
I am rocking and rolling, feeling good. Had a long day, and and this show's just getting started, so I'm feeling good about it. Got 2 more days to get to the weekend. Got some fun things planned there, and I got another introduction to make.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a man that's about to enter the building. My protector, that's right. You mess with me, you mess with him. He picked me up in Tequila, Jersey, and nobody went near me. Nobody could touch me. And we also ate some really good food. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him. You love him. He is big sexy. He is the man. He is Big Nick Shine.
Looks like we caught him in mid-bite. How you doing today, sexy man?
Grapes.
Grapes.
So I'm going to contradict Adam.
Okay.
Free agency didn't start yet. I don't give a shit. There's no timeline. I don't give a damn. Sorry. Forgot what channel I'm on. I don't give a damn. As long as we have it decided before 2.5 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now, we're good. As long as we're ahead of the curve, as long as we have it decided before free agency hits, and we don't have to scramble, that's the most important thing to me.
I'm going to quickly answer this question because it's really easy for me. Would you take 1 Super Bowl win with Rodgers and then another 12-year playoff drought, or Derek Carr for 5 years in the playoffs consistently? I take the Super Bowl, baby. And you know why? Because I've been waiting 40 years and I just need the Super Bowl. Now, I'm glad that it doesn't have to be that way, and it's just a hypothetical question. But beyond everything in this world, I need a Jets Super Bowl. And if you dangle it in front of me, I will make a deal with the devil to get that ring.
Just
like how do we get the guarantee, though?
Yeah. I don't know.
There's no guarantee. We thought we had a guarantee when we got Favre. We were 8-3. We were on top of the world.
He's asking.
I'm getting screamed at Nick's christening when we were playing the Titans and we were beating them. And we were beating them down, I believe. I'm announcing the score because my ex-wife, Nick's mom, decided to have the christening at 1:00 on a football Sunday. So when the priest is walking down, I'm turning around to my father and we're fist bumping because the Jets were up like 14-0.
I can see why the marriage didn't work out. Just based off that one decision alone.
It's a hypothetical question that's guaranteed. Would you take the guaranteed Super Bowl and the drought, or 5 years in the playoffs? And I'm saying guaranteed.
Oh, absolutely.
I would take the Super
but that's living like fantasy land. Because
right. I mean, look, hypothetical questions are fantasy land.
I would take a limb and hand it to somebody if they gave us a Super Bowl. Like I would gladly hand over a limb of my body and say, "Here, please take this."
Wow, I didn't think I'd go past the toe, but you would go a whole limb, huh? Man, I need a dynasty. I need to catch up to the Patriots anyway. For a limb.
I'm going to lose the limb anyway. I'm diabetic, so take your choice now. If we can get a Super Bowl out of it, check mark, lock it in. That's the sacrifice I'll make for this fan base.
Oh, boy.
I love it.
Hey, guys. What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
I see Wild Wave. Good to see him. It's always good when he shows up.
Love it when Wild Wave's here. Love it when Snowball's here. Love it when my man John Nolte is here.
Yeah,
Nolte.
No, he's awesome.
And yeah, man, people are piling in. They're ready for some Wednesday night entertainment. Look, it's the same old story, but that don't go away. But I guess it makes sense because we all know the quarterback position is so insanely important. I mean, it's critical. The decision right now is critical. There's so much on the line. If we wait for Rodgers and Carr goes elsewhere and Rodgers says I'm staying in Green Bay and we strike out, that's a huge problem. And I know people have different feelings all over the place, but no matter who you're for, the majority of the fan base, for sure, and we've proved this in polls time and time again, the majority of the fan base wants either Rodgers or Carr, and the majority agrees they'll be okay with either, regardless of their preference. But what they don't want is to strike out on both. And that's not every Jet fan, but that's the majority of the fan base. And it's a big deal. It's our entire next few years as Jet fans. It's tremendous. So, of course, we're going to talk about it until this gets resolved. Right, guys?
I don't think it's striking out if they choose different places. If Rodgers choose to stay where he's been, I don't think that's striking out on Rodgers, right? And if Carr decides to go with his offensive coach to the Saints and sit there during a rebuild, that's a loser's mentality in my mind, and I don't want you. So I don't think it's striking out if they choose other places. And then we still know before free agency starts. So it's not like we go 2-3 weeks into free agency and 5 other quarterbacks go away. And then we have to hit the panic button. And then it's a disaster of, no, Mike White. No. It's not going to be that. We're good. We'll have somebody.
What scares me for free agency is if the Jets were to head into that negotiating period with other free agents. Because remember, you could start negotiating a couple of days, I think 3 days in advance before the signings become official. If they go in not knowing what they're going to be doing at quarterback, if other players don't know what they're going to be doing at quarterback, that is going to be a very detrimental for the Jets' ability to get a free agent, especially when they're as tight on cap space as they are right now. This has to be resolved in my mind by, I think the first week, was it March? I think it was 15th, the league date. Is that when it starts? I think
13th
it's
is
that Tuesday.
13th is the tampering. I think.
And the tampering is like 3 days prior. So by that tampering date, it has to
Monday's
be,
the tampering, and then Wednesday or Thursday is the signing because there's a 72-hour window, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much always
Sunday
a 3-day window.
Tampering? Is it Sunday?
I'll double check.
But what's up, Iowa Jets fan? We were just on a call. Me, Finnegan was on the call. I was on the call. We were on Green Bean's Patreon call, the Zoom call, and Dom C was going over centers, interior linemen. We've already done that on my show, but he was giving us film. We're getting to watch film of it. So for those of you out there that are not part of Green Bean's Patreon, you should check it out. It's pretty awesome on Wednesdays. And some of you are and just don't show up. If you can, you should show up because it was a good time. And one of these days, I'm going to say screw monetizing the show because technically I can get away with showing film. I just have to not monetize the video, which is who cares. So I'm going to talk to Dom about it so we can actually watch tape sometimes too.
All right, so March 15th at 4 p.m. That is when contracts can officially be executed. 4 p.m. on March 15th.
Is that a Wednesday?
I believe it is. It's actually it's a Wednesday. Perfect. Jeremy, we might have to go on early that night. I don't know, but so 2 weeks from today.
Are we going to have the three of us have to be on and like 4 p.m. for our CJ Uzama reaction show? Like
I might have to go on. Yeah, I might have to take a half day from work. Who knows?
It's the most competitive YouTube stream day in the world. There are guys. There are guys who just stay live all day, Richie. Like, don't ever come up. So.
Some of us actually got to work. That's all I'm saying.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
God bless them for being able to do it. You know, if they could do it, good for them. That's all I can tell you.
So Gary brings up an interesting. If this is true,
it is.
If this is true, if Woody's there,
it is.
That makes me think there's a chance we might sign Derek Carr in the next few days.
Yeah, I was watching Buffalo Jets fans show before, and somebody asked, "Why is Woody heading out there?" And I commented in the chat to seal the deal.
Yeah, they're meeting with Derek Carr. That's already confirmed.
I'm a firm believer that tonight.
For him to go in person, that's a full court press.
That's the final nail, right?
Yep. Yeah,
I didn't want to say coffin, but that's the last piece of the puzzle, right?
In my opinion, if they were super heavy on Rodgers and waiting and not as serious about Carr, Woody Johnson would not be there. In my opinion, Woody Johnson is there because he wants to be there to give the final pitch. Because if it's his team,
I don't even think Woody has to pitch. To be honest with you, my take, this is strictly me, in my opinion. This is not anything from any insiders or sources that I've read. He met with us. He liked us. He's given the Saints and the Panthers their chance yesterday. There's a reason you structure it with us last. You go to them, you see them, you hear them. Panthers only got a half a day with them. Mm-hmm. You know, Saints got the other half. And now today you come to us. Tonight, yes, I choose you. This is where I want to be. You kick it to the agent because Carr's structure has been there is no contract talk with him. He wants to know about the facility. He wants to know about everything, the football side of everything. He's going to make his choice based off of that, and then he's going to kick it to the agent. So my prediction, middle of the night tonight, sometime tomorrow, we're going to have Jets agree to terms. That's my projection.
It'd be so surreal. And Billy, I agree with Billy from a certain perspective of, look, part of my heart is broken that we have to do this, that we're in a position where we have to spend money on a quarterback, right? It wasn't supposed to go down like this. It was never supposed to happen. Zach was supposed to be our quarterback, and that was supposed to be done, and we were supposed to have this beautiful window of 5 years. But the reality is, I understand what you're saying. If we would have had, based on how poor our quarterback play was last year, when healthy with an average middle of the league quarterback, you're right, we're a playoff team. But I think these guys want to win a Super Bowl. And I think that it's a reasonable argument. Adam was talking about it, and I saw some stats on Facebook. I saved the picture that, I confirmed it was true. There's a lot of similarities with Derek Carr and Stafford before he went to the Rams. A lot of similarities in their numbers in their career. Little differences, some people could argue Carr had more weapons than in Stafford, but defense, I mean, during Carr's career, the Raiders have had one of the worst defenses in the NFL. I think like 28th or something, 29. I mean, horrible defense. So there's a lot of arguments that if Derek Carr comes and not based on last year with that horrendous coach, but if he has any of the years before that, the last 4 years before that, before 22, he was a top 10 quarterback based on DVOA. We get healthy, our offensive line plays well, and our defense stays at the level it's playing at. I'm sorry, guys. I think that we could legitimately not just hope for the playoffs, but we could be very scary for teams to play to play us in the playoffs. What do you think?
I mean, I would say this with Stafford, when he went there, the Rams were coming off multiple winning seasons in a row and a Super Bowl appearance a couple of years prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say that the Rams' core in place was maybe a little bit better. You can make the argument, but the Jets are on their way up. They weren't as veteran a team as the Rams were at that particular time. So to me, this is the opportunity Derek Carr can go to create his legacy. I think he strikes me in the interviews I've seen as somebody who's very conscious of how he's perceived. I think last season really shook him up the way things fell apart with the Raiders when they didn't really have to. The Raiders to me were one of those teams that really underachieved last year because they had something kind of going for them. I mean, we talk about all the leads that they blew late. I mean, and one of their wins, I mean, of course, when I think about the Raiders season, I still think about Chandler Jones taking the ball taking that throw from Jacoby Myers and taking it to the house. I actually watched it yesterday just because I needed something to make me smile. But I think Carr is very concerned with his legacy and establishing it, and he needs a new place to do that. And he knows if he goes to New York and he rescues a team that has been in the absolute dumper for the last decade plus and hasn't been in a Super Bowl in 54 years, he'll basically be, I hate to use the word, he'll be a god. He'll be a legend if he can win that Super Bowl there. And think about what that would mean for his family. I mean, for the whole Carr family, he could fulfill the potential that his brother never got to because he was in a horrible situation. Derek Carr has seen if you don't have a supporting cast, he saw with his brother, your career gets completely compromised. We've seen glimpses of what he can do. So he is going to go, when he talks about the best fit, I don't think it's about the money. I don't think it's about the money. Billy said he's good, he's going to cost too much. I really don't think it's going to be about that. I don't think Derek Carr is looking for the last dollar. He is looking for the best fit that will allow him to win. That's something that gets me even more excited about him.
Yeah.
Good point.
And this is a really good point. We beat the Bills with Zach. He played a very good game that day. He was a very good manager of the team. I think what we're looking for is we have this window of opportunity. I think that's how they see it. We got this young core. We struck gold with some great young players. And I think what we don't want to do is gamble on someone who hasn't been consistent, who's been awful, but at sometimes good, and just get in a veteran, solid quarterback where we're going to know what we're going to get each game. And I agree. Before I said, oh, if we can't strike out on Rodgers and Carr, there are other guys. There are other like real players. I mean, that would be a giant step up for us as far as consistency. Like you know, people hate when you say the names, but every name after those top two, obviously there are problems. There's a negative for every one of them. I could sit here and say Jimmy G, and people are going to get pissed and say, oh, he's hurt, or someone's going to say he's not the guy, he's a system guy. I could say Jacoby Brissett, and people will go, oh, right, like not the same thing. But the truth is, any of these guys that I could list so many of these guys. They're all proven to be better than the quarterback play we had last year. It's just that simple.
I would trust Nick's arm right now, you know, because Nick could throw a football. I would trust him right now, I think, in the system to make it work over what we had last season.
I mean, what we had last year in those last 5 games, it was not even serviceable. It was
Division One AA quarterback play.
Don't say that to Jets fans. It was the mighty Mike White.
Well, look,
I can't roll my eyes hard enough while saying that. I hope everybody picked up that sarcasm.
I think Mike White.
That's how I was watching every game.
I think Mike White is a very solid backup quarterback. He's a fine backup quarterback. I mean, what do you expect, right? I mean, backup quarterback. If you're, you know, with a backup quarterback, you're only going to be so good. Otherwise, you'd be a starting quarterback. So
I think he's a mid-level. I think he's a middle of the pack type of backup. I don't think he's a very good backup. His record doesn't show to be very good.
But that's a cheap, solid plan when you're stuck, you know, with Zach's contract and he's going to stay developing. Then, you know, like maybe you bring White back because he knows the system, he knows the coaches, and then if whoever we have the veteran that's starting gets injured or out, then based on how Zach is doing and developing, you decide who your guy is going to be. But at least Mike White proved he can keep you in games, like for temporarily if he stays healthy, right? 2-3 games, he can kind of keep you in there. He can function. I mean,
it's just not enough to win, though, right? It's a nice story. He's a great guy. Great guy, great story, great person in the locker room. Nothing negative to say about him. Says the right things. Just can't win.
Not against good, and it's against good teams. Because where did he put up his big stats? It was against Minnesota. It was against Chicago. Some of the worst defenses in the NFL. That's
and
where
let's
he was
not forget,
his impact.
as I've reminded everybody in the chat, our chat quite often, he couldn't score in the first half against Minnesota. It was 20-6 at halftime. He couldn't get it in the end zone. That was the problem in that game. He couldn't finish the drives. And that's the difference between a mid-level backup and a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. But
now, I'm sorry, I was going to say, instead of Mike White, would you prefer as the backup Gary Minshew or Jacoby Brissett?
No. As a backup,
Zach's going to be the backup, and we're going to have a rookie in there as our third guy.
I agree. To me, you either have Zach Wilson or you have Mike White as the backup. You cannot have both because you are not going to pay your backup quarterbacks $15 million combined. It's terrible business, and Joe Douglas is smarter than that. Right. Yeah, if Streveler's the third quarterback, fine, I'll live with it. Just deactivate him for every game.
Lucas, right? Let him be Ray Lucas. Play some special teams.
I can live with it.
Be our third emergency. 2 positions, positional flexibility, right? The mantra of Joe Douglas.
If I'm Mike White, I'm going to one of these NFC South teams, which is so devoid of quarterbacks, it's not even funny. And I'm competing maybe for a starting job. Or there might be a team that isn't able to get the big guns, and they say, you know what, this guy's worth taking a chance on for 2 years, reasonable price. Let's see what we could do with him. I think Mike White's somewhere in the NFC South this coming season. And Zach should
be right back. Let me take this call from Mickey. I'll be right back in.
All right.
Yeah, I got to say, I love the name Rich Vitale. You know why? Because Rich, you know, often could be called, you know, the nickname Dick for Rich, right? Rich could be called Dick. Dick Vitale was one of my favorite announcers because he's bald like me, and he goes, "Slam Bam Jam, baby!"
With awesome baby with the capital A.
You make the Midnight Madness half-court shot now by the
Rich Vitale. He's brand new. He's a diaper dandy, baby.
Little and Rolly, NC State. Vital, Corciani, Del Negro. That's not red and white. That's white, and marinara, baby. So,
Nick's like, what the hell did I just come back to?
No, I could hear you guys. I muted and turned me off. Nicky's laughing his ass off. He goes, what are those 2 knuckleheads doing now?
Carr will take a team-friendly deal. He will. That can be structured in a way to get key play. I think that look, he is that kind of guy. He wants to win, and that's the smart play, in my opinion. Like, because I think if you care about legacy and your career and long-term money, you come to New York, and you sacrifice some money so they can play other players, but win a Super Bowl and give them a better chance to put the team around you to win a Super Bowl. That's going to be the better long-term thing for you, because the promotional money, the marketing, will be. Can you imagine winning a Super Bowl at quarterback for the Jets? How much money you're going to make the rest of your life from that?
If I could, I know I made the Mike White comment, but I wanted to kind of piggyback off of Adam's comment before about the quarterback. Let's remind all the Jets fans something. You could give us Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes tomorrow, and there will be a portion of our fan base that will be unhappy about it. So whoever we get at quarterback, this fan base is not going to be united. This fan base is not going to be on the same page. Not everyone's going to be happy, because there's so much of putting your opinion out there as a Jet fan. Now it's like the hill that they have to die on. And if it doesn't go the way they wanted it to go, it's going to be like, pitchforks and the angry South Park, rubble, 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 rubble. It's going to be those guys. So who cares? I care what Joe Douglas thinks. I care what Hackett thinks. If Hackett's okay, not on a full court press for Rodgers and getting Carr, say tomorrow, that's fine. That's a good thing. That means he put football aside and said, we can win with this guy. It doesn't have to be the Rodgers peg and the Rodgers hole. It can be any quarterback. Let's another thing I wanted to remind everyone of, and when you guys were speaking about it. We were a playoff team with Zach Wilson at quarterback, AVT on the line, and Breece Hall in the backfield. Let's stop diminishing what this team was healthy, and let's stop diminishing what this team is going to be next year. A lot of fans are pissing and moaning, saying things like, oh, we'll just be a playoff team. Newsflash, guys. Go back to late September. Go back to almost all of October. We were a playoff team. We're going to be a playoff team with no matter who we get at quarterback. How far we get depends on the team's health, not just the one player. We're not Kansas City. Our offense isn't going to go stagnant if the quarterback goes out. Our offense is going to be 13, 14, 15 guys who contribute collectively together. Our defense is going to be what takes us wherever we go. My bold prediction, I sent it to you guys today in the text. The Jets are taking out Allen, Burrow, and Mahomes next year in the playoffs.
I love it.
We're running it. The defense is what's going to, and then Trey Lance in the Super Bowl.
And I think that lost in the shuffle, assuming he comes back fully healthy. If he comes back or can get healthy by midseason, we keep forgetting about Breece Hall. We keep forgetting about him. I'm telling you, he was on the path of being a super special elite running back. He wasn't just good. He was incredibly special. He was averaging 5.6 yards a carry with not a great offensive line. This guy, I've been saying it since we drafted him, and people keep saying I'm nuts. I see Adrian Peterson type level running back in this guy. And that changes a franchise completely.
Yeah.
So if we improve that line, AVT comes healthy, let's say Becton comes back or we draft or whatever it is, and we have a better or just as good or strong offensive line that's healthy for Breece Hall and our defense, just like you're saying, Nick, that's a playoff team right there. Top 5 defense, good offensive line, solid offensive line, top 12 in the league, let's say if we're healthy, with a Breece Hall, the way he was playing, it's done. It's a freaking playoff team. Now you add on a quarterback that's very competent and good, and then you remember that we still have Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore and good tight ends. I mean, I don't know why people are not more excited about this team and this roster.
I want to go back to what you said about the offensive line. Think about what we had on this offensive line last year, who played the majority of the games. At left tackle, it was Dwayne Brown, who played the whole year with a torn rotator cuff. Pass blocked well enough, but graded as one of the worst run blocking tackles in the sport. Next to him, who'd you have? Laken Tomlinson. I'll give him credit for one thing. He played every single game. That actually does mean something, but he was graded as one of the worst run and pass blockers last year. That's what we had on the left side of the line. Connor McGovern, in my mind, a very league average center. Fine. If you can upgrade him, great. But, he is what he is. Once AVT went down, then you put in Nate Herbig. He did what he could do until I think he finally wore down. And at right tackle, it was primarily Max Mitchell, who, he was never supposed to play last season. He was supposed to be redshirting last year, and I think he can be a good starter. But there were games when he was fine, but there were games when he really got beat up. He was very up and down. This was not that great of an offensive line. Injuries, of course, had a lot to do with it. George Fant was never right either, not at all. So we were dealing with so much crap on that offensive line. Now, if I have one concern, I think there's something that gets overlooked going into next season. Why I would be a little worried. The defense was as healthy as you could have asked for it to ever be. The worst injury we had was Sheldon Rankins going down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
Outside of that, yeah.
He was
outside
back
of
from
that.
Minnesota, right?
I'm sorry?
Minnesota, I think, was supposed to be his third game out. I think he was back for that game.
I think he played a little. He played a little bit that game, but other than that, you had as good a health run from the defense as you could possibly have. You can't expect that 2 years in a row. So we can't. So that's why I keep saying, when we had a defense that turned the ball over less than one time per game, did not score a defensive touchdown, at least not one that wasn't taken away by the referees. Don't even get me started on that. But the defense does have room to take another level up, and you have to account for possible health issues because it is possible.
Yeah, look, that's always going to be an issue. We know that as well as any other fan base. No one knows it better than Jets fans, that health is a thing. And all we can do, and all JD could do, is we get the best players, best young stars, we get the best roster out there. We think about depth. We try to have depth. That's all we can do, and then it's got to just play out the way it plays out. Justin says, "What are the chances Elijah Moore turns it around?" I don't know if there's anything he has to turn around. I think that when we had good quarterback play, Elijah Moore was a fine slot receiver or number 2 receiver. In his rookie year games, I think his 7th to 11th game, when we were getting good quarterback play, he had like a touchdown 4 games in a row. And he looked like great. He was averaging like 85 yards a game. He was a 1,000-yard receiver. And then even last year, in the games where our quarterbacks were more competent, he was part of the offense. And never did the coaching staff put him in the doghouse in the sense that they said he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. Like they said, he's working hard. He's getting open. From the tape I watched, Dom C, we went over a couple of games. We looked at some tape. Anybody who watched the tape from the New England game, the second New England game, you can clearly see that Elijah Moore is a great route runner. He gets open. We need an offensive line that can give our quarterback time to go through the progressions and see him when he's open and get him the freaking ball.
I mean, if you had told me before the season Elijah Moore would play 16 games and score 1 touchdown, I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah.
It did not seem possible in any way, shape, or form, and it is what happened. I don't know if Moore is one of those receivers that's going to become a go-to receiver, if he's going to make his quarterback look better, like become that go-to guy. But with Garrett Wilson, he doesn't need to be. He has some great agility. We've seen the footwork. The problem is most of his best footwork we saw this year was during scrimmages against other teams. Against like the Falcons, for instance, when he made their defenders look silly. I have confidence he can turn it around, but I still think he is best as your third option. I think you need another receiver alongside him and Garrett. I don't know if Corey Davis is going to be back this season. That's a whole debate. We could talk. Put it this way: if Jacoby Myers is asking for $15 to $20 million a year, I wouldn't blame Corey Davis for asking for the same thing if the Jets let him go. But if they let Corey Davis go, they have to come up with another wide receiver option because I'm not comfortable going to war with Garrett, Elijah, and then who's my third receiver? Denzel Mims? I'm not ready to do that.
You're gonna have to double dip in a draft, or find a guy who's been like a fourth, like a, I don't want to say Berrios, but a guy who's been
Draft that
in
guy.
that team on another team, like a 4 or 5, maybe a bigger, better body.
I'm okay with Mims as a WR4.
Yeah, I agree
think
with that.
But I think we need a WR3.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Mims could still potentially, and maybe I'm just the last one thinking this.
You and Green Bean.
I don't think we can count on it, but I still think there's a chance that Mims could be a solid WR3, but we can't bank on that.
Yeah, Hackett loves the big body wide receiver, so Mims has, something in his favor there. He's got the big body. Now, can you show it? I think who that other 3-4 type, that big body guy is, depends on who we get at quarterback. If it ends up being Rodgers, I expect Lazard to be here almost instantaneously, right? He's on the market. That's a big body, a guy who can get downfield, someone Rodgers has chemistry with already. Not going to be a big dollar ticket. Probably going to be like an 8 to 10 million a year. I mean, which for a wide receiver on the market, maybe he only gets like 7 to 9, something like that. 2-3 years. It's going to be interesting. I got to remind everyone this too. Don't think we're going to have a 5,000-yard quarterback. Our bread and butter is going to be running the ball. Like I always say, look at the Niners, even with Hackett. Hackett loves running the ball as well. We're going to have a stout line. We're going to have a Knight Hall combination that, I expect Hall back my birthday, mid-October, like almost a full year, right? Maybe the end of October if he has any hiccups along the way. But to start off the season with Knight and Carter with a healthy line, like why can't Bam Knight go break runs 70 yards? With Vera Tucker, Becton, a rookie, a rookie center, and probably a rookie right tackle too.
Well,
Why can't we do that? Why can't we bring Max Mitchell in as that tight end, like that Fant role when he was in Seattle, right? Like the extra blocker down on the goal line, you bring him in as the tight end. You run a trick play to him or something. So we're going to be, if we're throwing the ball 20 to 25 times a game, we're winning double digits easy. If we're throwing the ball in the 30s, games aren't going to be the way we're wanting them to go, because that's not going to be who we are 90% of the time. Sure, there's going to be those 2-3 games a year where the defense might be off and it turns into a shootout, but our bread and butter is going to be running the ball, efficiency on third down, play defense, punt it away, capitalize late in the game, win a game 20-13, win a game 24-10. That's going to be us. We're not going to be this big, flashy team, no matter who we get at quarterback. That's why I don't think we need to go for Rodgers, because I don't think it moves the win needle that much between Rodgers and Carr because of our structure.
Look, the running backs you were talking about, I agree 100%. If our offensive line is healthy and effective, Bam Knight and Michael Carter will be effective. That's the kind of running backs they are. They're the kind of running backs where if you give them good blocking, they're solid and they're going to have big plays. Michael Carter will have big plays. We saw Bam Knight. He's a one, make his decision, makes his one cut and go, which we all love. And I think Breece Hall, the difference with him is he's that exceptional running back, right? He's that running back that even if your offensive line blocking is not that great, is going to break one for you. But if you combine an offensive line with Breece Hall, it's going to be lights out. And you're right. It's going to be a very easy job for whoever our quarterback is if we have that combination of a top 10 offensive line. If they come together and are great at run blocking, and you got a guy like Breece Hall fully healthy, it's lights out, man. It's going to be something Jet fans have never seen, or maybe since Curtis Martin, when he had a great offensive line.
That's a great point, because Chad was efficient. There were some games Chad had really big games, right? A lot of those games were receivers taking it to the house. Richie Anderson taking a screen pass against the Colts to the house, 62 yards to start the game. We didn't really air it out much. I know that Santana Moss 65 yards in the air in the playoff game at San Diego comes to mind when that when I think Chad throwing it deep. But we gave it to Curtis. We gave it to Lamont Jordan. We gave it to Richie Anderson. We ran the ball a lot. And then we had an efficient passing game. I don't think when you had the three Smurfs out there of Moss, Coles, and Corbett, they scared anybody. But they were quick. They caught everything that got put to them. They had an accurate quarterback that put them on them. And we moved the chains efficiently. And then when you made a mistake, we went over the top. So that is something that people got to remember. Like, I don't think you're going to see Mahomes or Burrow shotgun spreading it out and just airing it out the whole game. It's not who we are.
Well, Grandizer, you just took away one of my future trivia questions. Thanks, buddy. I was going to use that in the next couple of weeks, and now it's gone. Oh, man. Jeez.
And wasn't 12?
You should
was
do it,
locals,
and
right?
I'll look really smart, Y2K. I'll get it right away.
You won't, you won't even need Glenn on that one. My gosh.
Adam's going to be like, with this next question, me and Joe, everyone who's in this chat now is in that show is going to be like,
Grandizer, from now on, all
Abraham.
posts that you have, you must send them to me directly, and I will approve them or block them. That's how this works. All right.
When
the
the
center
Jets
of that,
were losing, which would you rather have? Well, Carr actually is like top 8 in NFL all time in fourth quarter comebacks. So I don't know that I wouldn't want Carr in there, to be honest.
Rodgers is used to playing with the lead, right?
I don't want to be
Carr would
losing.
like-
How about that?
Carr would be like, I've been here before.
People don't know that about Carr. He's one of the great comeback quarterbacks. He comes back. He's great at that. He's great at coming back. So which is great because we know that he's capable of doing it, and it's an important quality for a quarterback.
Keep an eye on this name. Yeah, I know you love when Rusty throws them out there. Joe Tittman.
Oh,
he's a center from Wisconsin, and he's 6'6", like 315, and very athletic with getting upfield to the linebackers and pulling out for that's what she said, for a big guy. I had to beat you to it. If I would have finished up my sentence, you would have went in for the steal. I know how you roll.
Dom C in my show on the Sunday show when we went over interior offensive lineman, I think had him as a top 10 guy.
I like him. I like him. I watched a little bit of him today.
Yeah,
you got Becton at 6'7". I forget Tomlinson's height. Then you go 6'6" center, and then maybe you get Broderick Jones, who's 6'6", and now you got the New York City skyline protecting.
Get the Juan Jones at 6'8".
Okay, just get the taller quarterback so they can see over the offensive line. I don't care who it is. Just get the tallest quarterback. Great, Jeff George or somebody. I don't.
Todd Marinovich.
Todd Marinovich. Yes, that's another one.
The big redhead from USC.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We're gonna have to put our quarterback on platform shoes to see over the offensive line.
Hey, Green Bean, you're gonna have to pay me if you want Grandizer. Well, our shows don't conflict, so what do I care? Grandizer, you're going big time, baby. Green Bean wants you, man. Green Bean wants you. If you're interested, send me a Facebook message.
Yeah, Green Bean's got a lot of salary cap space for
Grandizer. Send me a
Green Bean is Madden and no cap mode.
Grandizer, send me a message on Facebook if you want to be Green Bean's moderator.
Yeah, and the food, the nutrition, the strength, they're all ranked top 5 in the NFL. Apparently, that's a big thing nowadays.
Matthew Smith saying we got the band back together. We do kind of, right? We just we don't have Tigo in here though, or Buff. Usually sometimes we go with 4. So
nothing wrong. There've been a lot of great power trios in the history of music. We could break them all down.
Beastie Boys,
Cream,
Beastie Boys.
Grand Funk Railroad.
You go Cream.
Because you're gonna weigh us.
Yeah, I went 60s and 70s. Of course, I did.
The Monkees.
Oh, look!
That was 4.
Was it 4?
It was 4. Davy Jones, Michael Nesmith, Peter Tork, and Mickey Dolenz. It's sad that I know that.
I remember the TV show as a kid.
Yeah, they had the TV show. That is true. Yeah, and Michael. Yeah. Did you know what Michael Nesmith's mom is known for?
What's that?
She invented whiteout. She invented liquid paper.
Who's mom?
Michael Nesmith's mom. He was like the guitarist in the band. His mom invented liquid paper.
Okay, you glitched on my end. The Wi-Fi's not great here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but so she invented liquid paper. So believe me, he never needed to do anything for money. He just did the music because he enjoyed it. So that's pretty cool.
Everclear was a trio.
Yep, they were.
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Peter, Paul, and Mary. Well, Creed's Clearwater Revival was for the last year or two.
Wow.
Green Bean is a huge Peter, Paul, and Mary fan.
ZZ Top, Green Day.
ZZ
Rush.
Top. Oh my God. I got to see them live. Man, what a fun show that was.
Jesus Lord. Run DMC.
At the MC. Okay. I mean, I could go with country artists, but I won't, but I'm not going to do that to you.
Rush? Was Rush Green people?
No idea.
No, all I know is, Rush.
I guess the guitar, the drummer
Day.
for ZZ
Nirvana.
Top made
Yeah,
three.
yeah. Iowa Jets fan.
So
of
I'm
course,
reading the
Nirvana.
chat as it's coming in, replying to it instead of what's on screen or you guys. Like I'm watching the chat come in fast and furious.
Oh, boy.
Iowan says Nirvana.
Neil Peart.
I mean, I would say Crosby, Stills, and Nash. To me, that's not necessarily a band. It's more of a group because they weren't the entire band. So
And
it's
they were,
a
right.
little different.
And
Like I'd
don't
say
forget-
the Bee Gees. I mean, I
I
love the Bee
prefer
Gees.
Hogan, Hall, and Nash.
Well, they were once Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
That's right.
Demolition. Demolition was a three-man band.
Yeah.
This conversation just made a left turn. Axe, Smash, and Crush. Yes, we know. Where are we going next? The Fabulous Freebirds?
Okay, so I want to do a poll. Okay.
Motorhead. Good one, Billy.
No, I can't do a poll right now. I'm just curious. How many people think that Woody Johnson being at the combine means we're going to sign Derek Carr this week? If you think we're signing Derek Carr by Sunday, say yes in the chat. If you don't think we're signing Derek Carr by Sunday, put no in the chat. I want to compare yeses to nos. Are we getting Derek Carr, everybody? Are we getting Derek Carr by Sunday? Yes or no?
Can I give my opinion while you're waiting for everything to come
Yeah.
in?
Give your opinion while we're doing it.
I don't think
2 yeses, 3 yeses, 1 no.
it raises or lowers the water level with Woody being there.
6-3.
I think it's a sign of respect to Carr that, hey,
7-3.
we all want to be here.
3.
We want you as the quarterback. We want you in our organization. And we want to show you how important you are to us, that everyone is here. Salah might even fly in with him on the jet or whatever, right? Like to show, hey, he might come in for the day or he might be there now, right? It's one of those like get in, get out type of things. Come in, have the final meeting, make the final pitch. Everyone shake hands, agreement. Joe and the agent, do your thing. You're a Jet. It's just a matter of crossing the T's, dotting the I's. I think it's an ultimate sign of respect that he did head out.
Yeah, look. I mean, someone said that the owner for Carolina, New Orleans went out also. So I guess that I mean, I can't argue the fact that it might be you can't not now because the other two went, but it shows we're serious though. Because if we were really looking at Rodgers and Carr was just it shows some level of seriousness that Woody Johnson is at that combine because he's not.
It shows
there,
unity
he's
within
not
the front
there to
office.
evaluate talent. He's not
It shows
there to
unity
evaluate.
within
I
the
hope not.
organization, right?
Yeah, he's there to
There's
observe the bench
unity.
press.
Everyone's on the same page. Ownership, coaches, scouts, everyone, team presidents. We are in this together. You're our guy. You're the one that we want. We're all here to show you that we're united in wanting you as our guy. I really hope they don't wait for Rodgers the chip to fall. I hope they strike, and I hope they strike tonight. Like I said, I hope I wake up to pee like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I have a Bleacher Report alert that says Jets and Carr working on contract.
I still think though Carr waits for Rodgers. It's the smartest thing for him to do because if Rodgers does retire or if he stays in Green Bay, Carr knows that he is the top quarterback available on the market, and he might get pursued that much harder. And
But he is already.
He's
already the top quarterback on the market because he's the only one that people can negotiate with. And like you said earlier, you don't believe, I don't believe, he's the money-hungry guy. I think he's looking for the right fit. I think he's looking where he's going to be wanted. I don't think if Aaron Rodgers says, I retire, and he's about to sign the contract, says, nah, I want more now. I don't see Carr being that guy. I think Carr wants his revenge tour. I think Carr wants the right situation, being in the AFC, playing the Raiders next year. I think that's something that could greatly interest him, where he can go to play the Raiders 2, maybe 3 times in the next 4 years with how the schedule may work out. There was a while where there was a several year span in the early 2000s. We played the Raiders every year because we were finishing in the same place as them. So that was our.
It was always in Oakland, like 6 years in a row. It was always in Oakland.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How do we know that there aren't contract offers on the table?
No one's talked about it.
Yep. We don't know.
That would leak.
Do we know?
Leak. That always leaks.
But really,
even if the number doesn't leak,
New Orleans, you don't think there's any chance New Orleans told them this is how much we'll pay you? Like, and we just don't.
I don't think that it's not that they haven't wanted to say that, but maybe Derek Carr and his agent, maybe they just don't want to hear it right now. Maybe they just want to speak. Yeah, maybe they just want to meet with as many interested teams as they can. And I think, again, like we're talking about, it's about the fit. And when I say that, I don't mean money. I'm talking about the team, the offense, the weapons. And then once they have that fit in place, then it's about the contract and if they can make something work. And if it doesn't work out, then I think they'll go on to the next team.
Hey, if I was Derek Carr, if I was the agent, you guys know this about me, I'd be like, hey, dude, let's go to every city, make them wine us and dine us and take us to their best restaurants. Let's try the pizza.
That's because you just want to go on a goddamn food tour.
I want to be wined and dined. I want to be taken to each city's best restaurant.
I heard you emailed Derek Carr already and said, I'll go to every town. I'll check every restaurant.
I will be Patrick Mahomes back up in Kansas City. Just get me some Oklahoma Joe's barbecue.
Jeremy's like, Derek, follow this food chaos page I got.
So subtle.
I would love it. I would love to be pursued. Once you sign, it's like, ugh, every other team hates you. Now you got to start working and saying the right things to the new fan base. Right now, Derek Carr is not a care in the world.
Oh my gosh.
He has made $200 million in his career already.
Huh?
I mean, he's had to make more than 150, close to 200 million. He was the number one overall pick. What did he just have now? He had a 3-4 year deal.
Yeah, they paid him a lot, like $35 million a year, probably something.
I would say he's made probably 130 to 160 million in his career so far.
Yeah, he's very wealthy.
He's not waiting for the next check to come in to cover the bills. You know what I mean? Like, I think he wants the right fit. I think he knows he's going to get paid $30 million minimum, no matter where he goes.
$135 million. That's 35? What he's made. Okay. Yeah, 135. Not bad.
Did I say that number?
Yeah, 130.
I said it right.
You should be on the freaking price. That's right, Nick.
I go, wait, that sounds familiar. Didn't I just say that? But I think that when you're a free agent quarterback now, and then you're a 15 and up rated quarterback, you're going to get paid $30 million or more. If you get $40 million, all right, maybe you're taking that to go someplace that you're not as happy with. But now, if you're getting the 30, you're more than comfortable. What did I do?
That's green bean.
Okay. All right. I'm like, I'm trying not to curse. I'm doing well with it, I think. Usually I'm firing.
Yeah, we got the swear jar going. So far, it's only one. Not bad.
And I dropped one grape on the ground, so it's evened itself out over here. And Snowball, I did not eat that. I had the ones I was eating this hand. One dropped, rolled. I scooped it and threw it out and then ate from that hand.
Does the I think the 5-second rule goes out the window if it rolls. If it stays in place, then you have a 5-second rule.
I'm in a hotel.
That's the problem. You have to have harder
when
stands.
You're at home. I'm in a hotel. I ain't eating a damn thing off the floor.
No good. God only knows what's on that carpet.
I don't care if 1997 Jenna Jameson walked in. I am not eating anything off the floor. Didn't curse. Didn't curse though. Didn't curse.
So
Green Bean, don't worry about Matthew Smith. His job lately is his goal was to be the new Jets forever with trolling comments. So Green, don't let it get to you.
Okay, early prediction here. Okay, I'm gonna create a scenario for you that you're gonna love. Okay, and then you're gonna tell me and answer this question. Okay.
All right.
I want to give something that could happen. It's not super likely. Things go wrong, but let's say let's say these chips fall into place. Let's say Becton. Okay, because he's very healthy. He's at the facility. They say he looks great. He looks great in pictures, and that's very early for him to look great, right? So let's say Becton is down to like, I don't know, 360, whatever weight he's supposed to be at, where it's really a good thing, right? And he looks great and he's healthy, and he comes back and just crushes it, right? So we got a real left tackle, a right tackle. Let's say we take one of the top 4 guys in the draft, and they're fine. They're rookies, so they're not super great, but they're good, right? We get our center, whether it's McGovern or a draft pick, who's solid, right? AVT is back and healthy, so we have a very good offensive line. Let's say Brees Hall comes back and he's Brees freaking Hall, right? Let's say that happens, that scenario. Garrett Wilson is back. Elijah Moore is back. We have Derek Carr as our quarterback. And let's say our defense comes back. Whoever we let go, whoever we come back, let's say we stay top 5. Same, very similar to last year. That kind of defense. Teams rarely score above 20 points on us. How many games can we win?
I have to write all of that down. Who's our punter?
I mean, basically,
Who's our punter?
No, basically, it's just everything goes well.
Everything goes well.
The dream scenario where
Offense stays healthy.
Who's quarterback? Who's quarterbacking?
Carr.
Derek
He
Carr.
said Carr.
Carr?
Jeremy, offensive whole unit has like the health that our defense had this year, basically, is what you're saying?
Kind of thing.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
We're a regular team that's not decimated with injuries. We're a regular team that has an average season with injuries.
I felt
Maybe a little better than average.
I felt the ceiling last year would have been 10 wins if everything went as well as it could have possibly gone. And they're actually on pace to actually get to that level before everything, fell into the toilet. I think if all goes well, they could get to 13 wins. That is like my absolute pie in the sky. Considering some of the teams they're playing the NFC East.
Keep talking, Adam. Oh.
They're playing. Need a minute.
Are you being tickled under the table?
All I needed was the word 13. 13 is the best I could do because they're playing the NFC East. Not easy. You got Kansas City, you got San Diego, and you still have this division. This is a pretty brutal schedule, all things considered. I think 13 is absolute pie in the sky, best case scenario as of right now.
Wow. What do you think, Nick?
Give me 11. And here's why. Hall's not going to be ready opening day.
No, I'm saying
No. We're living in
know.
Jeremy land. This is Jeremy land we're living in.
I
now.
got you, but I'm going to base a little bit of reality off of it. It's going to take a rookie center, which I think we're going to have. I don't think McGovern gets another deal. I think it's rookie center. Becton playing for the first time in 2 years. Like, I'm going to take all of the scenarios that you threw out and kind of fully delve into it.
Put some more realism in it.
Yeah, Becton hasn't played in 2 years.
Now I have to be realistic.
Rookie center. Does Tomlinson bounce back? And the tackle that we do draft, which I think we will, at right tackle, have you played there? Are you comfortable there? Or is Becton going right and rookie going left? There's going to be a chemistry, right? There's going to be offensive line getting to know one another, right? Because it's going to be guys who Tomlinson and Becton never really worked together. The center never worked with AVT and Tomlinson. AVT would have never worked with a rookie right tackle. He would have worked with Becton a little bit in the camps. So, and a new quarterback coming to New York, a new system. There's going to be some I don't want to say growing pains, but there's going to be an adjustment period. If Hackett's calling, I always say one of the biggest things that get forgotten in this league is when a new quarterback and a new coordinator get together. There's a feeling out process. There's several games before. What does he like to do on 3rd and 8? What does he want to do on 2nd and 13? You got to know your guy, and you got to know what works, and it takes a little bit. We saw this year with LaFleur, right? LaFleur took a little bit before he clicked with everybody, and Hall was in there. And then the Miami game, the Green Bay game, the start of the Denver game, you saw that we started clicking, and then it all fell apart on back-to-back plays in Denver. So there is a little bit of a feeling out period. No matter how veteran of a coach, play caller, no matter how veteran of a quarterback, if their first time together is going to be a difference. So I'm going to say 11. I think with Kansas City, with San Diego, with Cincinnati, I think we have again, right? Are we that division? No, we played them last year.
We played the AFC West this year.
We played the Bills twice.
Yeah, we have
Pittsburgh
and Houston as the crossover games.
And then what's our division? Oh, we have the NFC East, right?
We have the NFC East.
Yeah, so we got Philly, we got Dallas, we got the Giants. We got some tough games. Yeah. So it's going to be a very impressive 11 if we get it based off the schedule, because we're not going to have the schedule that the NFC East had last year, which was Cupcake City.
And by the way, I am not saying the Jets are going to win 13 games this coming year. I'm not saying that. I was going off living in Germany land where everything was going perfectly. No injuries. Everybody's back. Everybody's ready.
And you don't pay for food at the stadium.
Everybody's singing "Kumbaya." They're wearing the old jerseys. They've scrapped the new ones. And the PSLs are all gone now. Yeah.
And every tailgate has Spumani Gardens.
Free food in Germany lands.
Yeah. It's like
an episode just put Taylor Ham at all the concession stands, right, Nick?
Yeah. It's what? Oh, you caught me with that
one. We haven't busted out a good pork roll joke in a while, so I had to do that to you.
Some things are not worth joking about, man. Jeez.
But grapes are.
Another great three-man band. Pork roll, egg, and cheese.
I thought it was
they only play in Jersey, unfortunately.
Taylor Ham, egg and cheese.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
All I know is whatever you want to call it, it's freaking delicious. It's delicious.
Yeah. It's delicious. We all agree on. That's the only thing we can all agree on. It's fantastic.
Delicious. Still, man. Yeah. All right. So
that's on a roll tonight, man. Oh man.
We've been talking about quarterback.
Who is?
Power.
The chat is on. The chat's bringing it tonight. Bringing some interesting points and some horrifying points.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's exciting, though. We talk about like if it works out that we get Carr, like if he ends up being the one we sign, that means we keep our picks.
Yep.
And that could be some exciting things. That if one of those top 3 quarterbacks or top 4 quarterbacks are available at 13, there might be some pretty nice, tasty trade offers. Where we could trade back a little bit, still get some pretty good quality, add some picks, and have another year where we add even more pizzazz, another slam bam kind of thing, plus set up next year with an extra first round pick. Like that's crazy stuff, but it could happen.
Did you try to say pizza and it came out as pizzazz?
I don't know.
He was saying Mike Piazza.
Sometimes I do say pizza when I say something's going to be great. Like I'm going to say, "Oh my god!"
Jeremy, you kept saying Matthew Stratford. By the third time, I'm like, he's not going to get off this, is he? Matthew Stratford.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh boy.
I see a comment from Tigo. It says Jets need to sell 13 now. I wouldn't wait till the draft. I think all 3 tackles and all 4 QBs are gone before 13. But nobody's going to buy up to 13 now without knowing who they get.
I don't know, Tigo.
No GM is going to trade up to 13 until they're on the clock and they know their guy is there. That's
typically, right. Typically, you trade up before the draft and before the clock when you're going into the top 5 and there's a certain amount of players or top 3.
There you go.
You're right. At 13, they all might be gone.
You're not
trade down. You're trading down on draft day. You're not doing that weeks ahead of time. And besides, so Tigo is saying that 4 offensive line, 4 quarterbacks and 3 offensive line. I think 3 edge rushers are going top 10 between Anderson, Murphy, and Smith. Wilson. That's right. Yeah, I was thinking Tyree Smith, but yeah, Tyree Wilson. I think those guys are all gone. Definitely top 12.
I think a quarterback is going to sneak through, like whether it's that Will Lewis guy or whether it's Richardson and somebody wants him, like one of those two. Somebody's going to slip. It always happens. I think. Look, I like it when it's at the last second. I like when those kind of things happen. Like one of them slips through, and then you have frantic GMs on the phone, and that's where JD would lick his chops. Like frantic GMs fighting. And I could see JD saying, well, I got someone else on the other line and your offer is just not even close. You're going to need to throw in a second round this year with that first round and that fourth round this year, and just totally just fleecing somebody.
Yeah.
The Joe Douglas trade tax. We've seen it used so many times, and this is another perfect opportunity for another team to pay it a game. Seattle, Minnesota, Carolina. Who's next?
What a way to stay great long term. I mean, take advantage of that collapse at the end of the year and getting this good pick, because Can you imagine if we did trade back, still got like a guy like Broderick Jones, whoever it is, an offensive tackle that we like, and still go on to have a really good draft because we have these extra picks, right? We add on a whole ton of talent. And then next year we're playing with 2 first-round picks again. That's like off the charts. Crazy. I mean, it's just continuing to allow us to bring in real value and real talent year after year. And that's how you create a great long-term successful franchise, isn't it?
Most definitely.
Tigo, if you don't mind if I read this, Tigo asked, but who's coming up for who? Who is trading up at this draft for a non-QB? I'll tell you right now. Number 14 in the draft is New England Patriots, who are rumored to be wide receiver heavy. A team looking to jump them to if the number 1 wide receiver is still on the board when we're there. That's the best case scenario for us, I believe. No wide receivers taken yet. Somebody wants to jump the Patriots to get their receiver.
Yeah, someone might fall in love
Or
with
their
that.
number 2 receiver. Say Houston takes one at 12. Now somebody's going to panic and say, okay, 1 wide receiver went. We got to get our guy. We got to go up ahead of the Patriots because we have them on our board taking a wide receiver.
Yeah, what
So
if somebody?
that's the best situation for us on a trade down. 3 tackles go, 1 or 0 wide receivers go, or somebody wants to jump the Patriots to get Brees or the safety from Alabama.
Brian Branch.
Brian Branch.
Look, Brees is the D tackle from Clemson, I believe.
You never know what a team. You never know what a team wants. I mean, typically it would be quarterback is the more common. Obviously, that's the more traditional. You're going to make a big jump and give a lot of stock for. But you're right. Wide receiver has become a very high commodity. It's a very expensive position now, and you have a team that really loves a guy like they love Addison or Nigba.
And we are in that sweet spot. Don't anybody think we're not in that sweet spot. 2 years ago, we went from 22 to 14 to get Vera Tucker. Last year, the Lions went from 32 to 11 to get Jamison Williams. So that 11, 12, 13, and 14 area is a sweet spot where people may have a skill guy who's not top 10 worthy, but young, early teen worthy. So there are some trades that jump up there in that area that we're in, and maybe we capitalize on it. Like I've said, we get a lower guaranteed contract. We have 5 first-round contracts the last 2 years. That guaranteed money adds up very quickly. Now you're paying Quinnen. Now you're paying a quarterback. You're going to have $90 million between 7 guys. We're going to need to trade down eventually and have lesser contracts on the books, maybe even out of round 1 completely if they value the mid-tier linemen, right? Schultz in round 2. With a couple of the offensive tackles in round 2. Maybe they stock up with 2, 3 second rounders this year instead of all the first rounders.
That's why you do your draft scouting, 2 years in advance, because you're trying to project what these future classes are going to be like. It's like, is this the year where we want to have multiple picks, or is this a year where we can have fewer picks, just try to get a couple of good, solid players in, but maybe focus a little bit more on free agency and, build the foundation that we've been establishing the last couple of years. Go ahead.
Yeah, you just need a team who's in their power rankings, their top 8 slips. I mean, because everybody has different power rankings, and there might be a team where their number 7 guy or number 8 guy slips, and he's just there. Remember, we've seen teams make odd picks that we didn't expect, we didn't see coming, because they're all in their own war rooms with their own rankings and ratings and scouts. Yeah. Like this guy Addison, the wide receiver. Most people don't talk about him as being the number 1 or like popular wide receiver on the board. But you know what? There might be a few teams out there that rank him as the number 1 wide receiver because he has qualities about him that you can make an argument. So it's just, but I agree. I know what Tigo's thinking, and I don't disagree though. The strongest thing that could happen is one of the top 4 quarterback slips, and it's a quarterback that one of those teams in the 20s loves, right? Like somebody loves Richardson, or somebody loves Will
Levis? Levis.
Yeah,
I fully believe Richardson goes number 1 to Indy. And my logic behind it is that division, Tennessee's on the downfall.
Yep.
You got a quality offensive line still. You have Jonathan Taylor. Go run that Philadelphia college RPO with Taylor and Richardson in the backfield with Quentin Nelson pulling. And Look, Richardson and Jonathan Taylor in the same backfield. That's like Cam Newton and
as long as you can block for them, it's scary. I know they have Quentin Nelson, but I don't know. That franchise is in some turmoil right now. But
they are. But if you can go run the ball 40 times a game between your quarterback, your running back, and your backup running back to take the pressure off of a young quarterback, I think that would be the perfect fit there.
That works out. That works out well until you start falling behind, and then you have to throw in the air. I'm sure, Carmelo. I'm sure it's interesting to you. I saw posts about this. I saw this about Wentz. I saw this about Marcus Mariota. I know that we're trying to be cute, but I think deep down there's a little bit of self-loathing in a very large portion of this fan base. It's time for us to expect more. It's time for us to demand more. Then apparently we want to get the only number 2 pick who is a quarterback in recent memory who is worse than Zach Wilson right now. I guess that's our goal. That would be all we're accomplishing with Carson Wentz. I really have nothing else to say. It'd be interesting if you like to watch X-rated TV with nobody naked, because that's what Carson Wentz on the Jets would basically be like. It would be offensive. It'd be, oh my God, so offensive. We have not seen you in a long time. It was good to see you here tonight, brother.
Yeah, good to have you back.
No butthole talk for me. He's my boy. No butthole talk.
Meat on a stick, baby. Meat on a stick.
If I could reply to Tigo, I saw him say something about Frank Reich in the chat. Frank Reich's in Carolina. The coach of the Colts is the Philly offensive coordinator who ran the college offense RPO. So why wouldn't he want a running quarterback? I mean, Bryce Young is smaller than most kickers in the NFL at 194, I think, when season ended. I don't think you're going to want him moving very much in the NFL. Stroud's a little bit bigger. I think he's 6'3", 212, 214. He'll probably add a little bit of muscle on, be around 220 this week. Tigo, this is why I'm here, man. This is why we do the shows, man. You've had a lot going on in life, man. That's why I'm here. Do we really run the ball because AR-15 sure can't throw it? He makes Zach look accurate. Yeah, but you get that RPO going. You get that rollout. You get that one read system until he develops as a passer, and you use his legs until he develops.
Well, then you better not be counting on him to start this year if he needs a year to figure that stuff out.
No, you can gimmick it, right? You can do Wildcats and just do the RPOs and ease him into it. You could start off with certain packages. That's what she said. And then you can evolve into the passer.
This sounds like a slightly better version of Chris Streveler that you're describing for me right now.
Well, why are we putting Richardson and Streveler in the same conversation?
I love it when people are behind in the show, but in the chat, because no such thing as a pork roll.
Somebody replied earlier, when the heck did AVT get hurt?
Daniel,
right around the same time, Vinny popped his Achilles, apparently.
We can all agree on one thing. It's delicious. That's all that matters. Okay. I had my first one. That's what she said. The first Taylor ham or pork roll, egg and cheese I ever had. Harold's Deli with Nick in New Jersey. So it was a triple pork roll, a billion eggs. It was this thick. It was like I sent a picture to Green.
That's what she said.
I sent a picture of it to Green Bean. He goes, I see what you did there. You got a triple sandwich. And I was like, no, it's Harold's.
I just fully digested that sandwich like 2-3 days ago.
Green Bean, Wentz would be the best quarterback we've had in a decade.
Wow.
Not wrong.
Wow.
Not wrong.
Well, Fitzpatrick, when he was with us,
I think it's really
that year he was with us.
McCown was okay. Did anybody actually watch Wentz? I mean, here's the thing. I live in the D.C. market, so the Washington games are kind of on, and some of the Washington games that I have seen, oh my gosh, he was missing throws by 10 yards. Just because he was the Eagles quarterback on a team that got to the Super Bowl. He has digressed like even worse than Mark Sanchez did in his last couple of years as a Jet.
And
You
he
know
looks like he's getting a little bit case of Zach Wilson, like he's getting the yips and missing
He
like
is.
wide open throws now because
He
it's
is.
growing here.
Yeah, but do you know what this statement from Green Bean really tells me? No, Carmelo, it doesn't mean we should go out and get Wentz. What it means is we've set a very low bar because the Jets have had very bad quarterback play in 10 years. So saying he's the best quarterback that would come here in a decade is not much of an endorsement for that's the guy we should go out and get.
It's like you haven't driven a car in 10 years, but hey, here's a 20-year-old Pinto. Try this.
I was driving a Nissan Altima. It was 2005 and all the way until 2017. And the last 5 years, it was a piece of junk. There were a lot of cars out there that would have been the best car I drove in the past 5 years. It doesn't mean I went out and got one of those cars. So,
all right, I don't drink soda, but I opened up something. Do you guys know that there's Peeps Pepsi? Peeps
Yes, I heard
Pepsi.
I did hear about this. One of my Facebook friends mentioned this.
I would never want those two together. Like, you give me Peep flavor.
I don't want them separately.
All right, let me give Jeremy a quick history. Catholics and Christians, we celebrate this thing called Easter, and there's an Easter candy that's called
marshmallow.
And for the record, anyone who eats Peeps, take a knife, slash the plastic bag open, wait a week, come back and eat them when they're stale. They're so much better than when they're fresh. You don't get diabetes without knowing these tricks, folks.
Wait until they have a lot of bacteria on them, bound to give you lots of diarrhea.
Peepteria.
Still the best quarterback we would have had in a decade.
Put it this way: if all else failed, I wouldn't hate it. I would not hate it.
The disrespect that our chat has for guys like Bryce Petty is just horrible.
Wait, which Bryce are you talking about?
Did Greg McElroy love, or that was more than a decade ago?
McElroy was
that was pre-Sanchez, right?
McElroy, I think that was afterwards, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was Carl Wentz really? Did he have 20? Did he have 27 touchdowns and 7 picks for Indy? If so, why are people hating on him? Then what's so bad?
Because he fumbled like 15 times.
Oh,
I think he fumbled a ton that year.
I mean, his numbers don't look so good, but just the fact that the teams he played for didn't do well. Like Philly gave up on him.
He was released after one season.
Philly got rid of him. Indianapolis wanted nothing to do with him after a year, and then Washington wants nothing to do.
Right? Green Bean. You know what? You're right. He had those 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, but then he was on another team the next year. If he was so good, why wouldn't Indianapolis have kept him? It's an important question.
I don't
know.
And
then this past year, 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. So back to earth.
It does seem that he takes a lot of crap for someone. The numbers aren't bad. Like why aren't his numbers worse? I mean, because I remember why do teams hate him so much? Because those are not bad numbers.
Career completion percentage under 63. That is not so good. He's led the league in interceptions in 2020. All right, so that's not too.
Where was he?
What?
That was in Indy.
That was in Philadelphia. 2020, his last year with Philadelphia. Okay. He led the league in interceptions with 15.
So he was in Indy for 1 year.
1 year in Indy.
So
that
21
was
in Indy, 22 in Washington. Okay.
That's right. So 3 teams in 3 years.
He makes some really boneheaded decisions with the ball, like panic moves. And
oh my God,
we kind of dealt with that with Sanchez, Darnold, and Zach. There's no way we bring in somebody who's more experienced and just as big of a bonehead as those guys.
He's been sacked 237 times in 7 years.
He's been sacked 237 times in a row?
In a row. 50, yeah, he was sacked 50 times in 2020. That was the most in the league. He has been beat up too, and that is not helping matters.
My quarterback's been sacked 237 times. Try not to get sacked on the way to the parking lot.
Jeremy, is there some sort of inside reference that I'm not getting on that one?
Clerks.
No wonder I missed it. I totally missed that one.
I can't say the real quote, but if you've ever seen the movie Clerks, no?
I missed that one, man.
Anyone in the chat know what I'm referencing?
I'm sure somebody does, but
you got to watch the movie Clerks for sure.
Was that the movie you said that I had to watch? There's like one or two movies you said I had to watch that I hadn't yet. Was Clerks one of them? I could have sworn that was one.
I think so because I'd like to reference this
I think
very
it was.
often.
Apparently, people don't like Wentz in the locker room, so that's a problem. Then he's secretly Prince Harry.
I don't think it's a secret. That's why he's so hated.
I didn't expect Prince Harry to get referenced on the show tonight, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Didn't see that coming for a mile. I don't know.
Jeremy's like unplanned.
So look,
yes, Matthew Smith. I'm sorry, it's not the Lego movie that you still watch every night before bed. Calm down, youngin.
So who's out there? Matt Ryan is out there.
Oh boy,
Carlson Wentz is out there. Jacoby Brissett's going to be out there. I'm just thinking about all the other options.
Who's the
Baker Mayfield?
Adam, do not answer this.
All right,
Jeremy. Who's the backup from Philly? Who's a free agent that you mentioned that you like?
Gary Minshew.
I love that he never says the name right. Never correct him, Adam.
I know.
Chat. Never correct him.
Minshew.
Never give him the real name.
Gardner Minshew.
Gary Minshew.
You've called him Garrett. You've called him Gary.
Next year, I want the Jets quarterbacks to be Matthew Stratford and Gary Minshew.
Grandizer, where's my mom to help me out with that?
He's already getting his I Heart Green Bean T-shirt ready for tomorrow night.
I know he's
Super
going.
chat. Drop your favorite player in super chats.
Germany
Jeremy will purposely mispronounce their name.
Nice.
Oh my God!
So what else we got?
What do we got? So look, I named other quarterbacks. It's funny because Minshew is now, to me, a backup quarterback prospect for teams. I can't believe there was a time we were talking about him as a starting quarterback.
I couldn't believe it either, to be honest with you.
That's how bad things
I kind of like him, but I think there's a reason why he's been a backup. I think there's reasons, like beyond just numbers of what we think. They see him in practices. These guys, there must be reasons. I don't know, but I would be very disappointed if he was our starting quarterback going into next year. I'm hoping.
100%.
I'm hoping for more. We got
There's no way that Joe Douglas is tying the end of his Jet regime to a Gardner Minshew or a Mike White balloon and saying this is our guy day one. There was never going to happen.
He will bring back Sam Darnold as his starting quarterback before he goes that direction.
I would do it. Yes, 100%. I would rather him say, you know what? This works. I would rather him bite the bullet, say maybe I was wrong, Darnold could work here, than bring in any of those guys and say they're QB1. That's just you might as well just resign if you're going with Mike White as QB1.
You got to admit
you're giving up on the team.
You got to admit it would be funny, like to watch Jet fans' reaction. Like I'd pay money. I would want every Jet fan. Like I would hope that like when it was announced that people record themselves because I'd want to play like a montage of Jet fans.
Oh, breaking TVs, breaking cell phones, jumping out off the third story floor of a building,
kicking puppies randomly on the street,
eating grapes off hotel room floors. Oh, it'd be unbelievable.
Just a montage of Jet fans reacting to Gardner Minshew, the Jets starting quarterback for 2023.
Matthew Smith has nothing about being a Joe Douglas truther. It's just knowing that a competent GM is not going into the season with Minshew or Mike White at quarterback or Wilson. You're just not picking a guy like that when your job could be on the line. You missed already on a quarterback at number 2. You're not going to go bring in a same tier quarterback who just has different issues or lacks arm strength or mobility. You're not doing it. You're going to go get a guy that can lead your team and control the locker room and garner respect and not have wide receivers complaining and protesting and asking for trades and wanting out. It's you're not doing it. It's not good business.
I think Nick is already answering this question.
Yeah, Nick is not even impressed with Mike White as being a very good backup quarterback.
No, he's a third-string quarterback. He's a third-string quarterback, in my opinion.
Wow.
He's doomsday. Season's over. Here's a couple games. Go play. Get us to the draft.
I would take him as the backup. I would take him as the second quarterback, but if you do that, you have to trade Zach Wilson. You can't release him because the cap hit is astronomically bad. And right now, if you're trading Zach Wilson, how much you're getting for him? A 5th-round pick at best, maybe? So to me, it just doesn't make sense to keep Mike White around. He's going to have other opportunities to start. I think Mike White needs to explore greener pastures. Well, less green pastures since he won't be a Jet.
You want to hear a fun fact?
No, go ahead.
Zach Wilson has a better career winning percentage than Mike White. Shocking, I know, because Mike White was a god for 2 quarters against the Bears with no secondary.
You really don't like Mike White, do you?
I don't like Mike White. It's that Jets fans hated Zach Wilson so much they would have liked Satan if Satan started the next game and said, "This is our guy." Maybe he just got put out there the wrong way in the Bible. Like Jets fans would have found a way to embrace Satan at quarterback if he followed up Zach Wilson.
Look, we were letting the coaching staff, and this is what troubles me about Saleh. Either he's lying or he's stupid. Because remember, he was saying Joe Flacco could still start in this league. I'm like, what drug is he smoking?
I will say this: if we had Satan at quarterback, I would have liked to have seen him throw a Hail Mary pass and see how that would have worked out.
It's troubling to me that our coaching staff for the last 2 years have been convinced they've had 3 good quarterbacks on the roster, and we're by far the worst quarterback room in the NFL the past.
What else are they supposed to say? I mean, we all know what it means. When you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. When you either have 1 quarterback or you have no quarterbacks. We all know how this goes.
Yeah. When you're the Jets, you have none.
When you're a Jet all the way.
Now you probably changes, right?
We absolutely have to get some competent quarterbacks. Sorry,
we don't have a ton of questions this year compared to what we've faced in previous off seasons. In previous off seasons, it has been maybe 1 or 2 positions we felt good about, and then let's just fix it what we can, even though we know we can't fix all the holes. In this spot, we know what the issues are that we have to address, but we have to make sure with our limited resources that we address them correctly. And to get the quarterback out of the way, to get that ready for free agency and for the draft, that will go a long, long way. Plus, let's be honest, we don't want to think about it from the business side. That staff, they got to sell this team to the fan base. They got to sell them that this team is finally going to make the playoffs after 12, 13 years. It's been ridiculous. It's been ridiculous. You need something to sell them on, and there is no better way to do that than with a big leap at quarterback.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start a game. We're gonna play a game, okay, of the absolute annoying, or you could say the stupidest or the most annoying, the most irritating take that people, and there are people that have said on Twitter, Facebook, or you've seen in streams, okay? And I'm gonna start. This is my pet peeve. This is the one that drives me crazy. We should trade for Justin Fields. That's mine. We should trade for Justin Fields. People say it. I read it all the time. I'll read it on Twitter sometimes. I see it on Facebook sometimes. People say it in the chat sometimes on some of the streams. We should trade for Justin Fields. There are people that are actually being serious and saying that out there. And I've got to say that to me is one of the stupidest and dumbest takes right now that exists in Jets world.
I feel like Justin Fields, I think 95% of football fans recognize him for what he is, a very good runner who cannot throw the ball, but there's this little pocket of fans who thinks that he's going to be better than Lamar Jackson, Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb, all these quarterbacks rolled into one. That's going to be Justin Fields once he has some weapons to work with. He doesn't throw the ball well. I'm not saying he's on the level of Tim Tebow or Chris Streveler, but I have seen no indication that he can throw. How often do you become a more accurate passer? It seems to me accuracy is something as a quarterback you have or you don't.
But
Justin
weapons
Fields,
help. Guys who can get open help. I mean, Cole Kmet was the only guy really getting open down the end of the year and putting up. You're talking about Fields,
guys
right?
guys like
Kmet was
Darnell
the only
Mooney,
guy getting open consistently and being productive. Mooney's not a number one.
No, he is not.
Montgomery's a very nice running back. I just think he goes somewhere else.
I just have no interest. I have no interest in the. But can you imagine?
I wanted Fields coming out. I mean, I'll dig up the mocks and the posts from 2 years ago.
But if I'm Joe Douglas, do I want to deal with? Well, Joe, why didn't you just draft Justin Fields when you had the opportunity? Why'd you take Zach? You're basically admitting that you screwed up that draft even harder. You're like doubling down on a mistake. I don't see them doing that.
I'll give my most annoying take right now.
Go ahead.
That we have to do whatever it takes to get Aaron Rodgers. It's not true. That's a bad take. That's putting all your eggs in one basket. That's not being very logical, in my opinion. That's being very Jet fan overreactive. And that's not usually what gets success in this league, being overreactive. You don't get held to the mercy of a player. This guy has held the Packers at his mercy for the last several years in a row. Is he in? Is he out? Is he here? Is he there? Is he playing? Is he not? Is there light? Is there dark? Who's he dating? Is he talking to his family? There's too much drama. Listen, I love Aaron Rodgers, the player. If you gave me Aaron Rodgers and you gave me him with a guarantee of 2 years, which we will not have because you don't know what injuries might take place. There's no guarantee we have this guy for more than 4.5 months next year. There's no guarantee. If you guaranteed me 2 seasons, I would be more interested. But I'm not giving up a 2 this year and then a 1 next year if he decides to come back for the following season. I'm not doing it. I don't want to be in the drama of look how much drama there is, everyone, when he's in Green Bay. Do you know how awful it's going to be if he's here in New York media? It's a headache that we don't want. I don't want headlines. I want goddamn wins.
But when he does cure everything, Aaron Rodgers does give you wins.
He does, but there's a shitstorm that comes with it. Sorry, Jared, $2. Okay. There's a storm that comes with it that I don't want the Jets involved in. I don't want to hear he yelled at Garrett Wilson at practice. I don't want to hear he's not targeting Elijah Moore because he didn't run the right route. This guy is a stubborn jerk, and he will do that stuff. I don't want the old, stubborn, stuck-in-your-ways quarterback coming and possibly poisoning a young, growing, energetic locker room. I don't want it. I don't.
All right.
And Rodgers, I will say this. Let me add this before you go. Rodgers is my favorite non-Jet of all time because I don't have to deal with all the extracurricular as an outside appreciative, a guy who appreciates the guy's play. Love watching him play. You tell me he's on at 425 on Fox, I'm sitting down and I'm watching that game after the Jet game, 100% guaranteed because I don't want to miss his skill set. But if he were to come to my team, you're getting a lot more than just the skill set.
What year did Aaron Rodgers cause dissension in the Green Bay Packers locker room that led to the downfall of that season? Because I am not aware of that ever happening. I will say Rodgers marches to the beat of his own drum. Mm-hmm. We know he's quirky. We know he's crazy. He can live the life that he wants to live, however he wants to do it. That's fine until it starts creating problems within the team. And to me, I have not seen evidence that has been a problem with his teammates. So if that's all it is, I'm not worried about that.
But here's the difference.
Okay.
The Green Bay media bowing down to him because they're so grateful to have a superstar, and him side-eyeing a wide receiver on the sideline, and our media turning into Superstorm Hurricane Sandy.
So you think
that's the difference?
So you think that he might be doing these types of things, but it just kind of gets swept under the rug in Green Bay?
He does do those types of things. There's a lot of
because
video.
There are definitely some. Okay.
If there's video of him rolling his eyes at a receiver, which you see all the time when he's on national television, they don't make a big deal out of that in Green Bay because he's a god in Green Bay. Here, he's not ours. He's the story. He's good and bad. Oh, Jets lost today. Aaron Rodgers rolled his eyes. Oh my God, dissension. And it's going to be it's going to be 600 questions about it to Salah, to everyone, to receivers, to offensive coordinator, to the coach. I don't want it.
All right. Well, not every reporter in Green Bay, like the one that reported on the Packers being disgusted with Aaron Rodgers, Bob McGinn or whatever his name is, he is known for not being pro Rodgers. So we just need to realize the Green Bay media, it's not a bunch of Aaron Rodgers sycophants. It's not a bunch of kiss asses.
Here's the difference.
But things do get magnified in New York. That is the one thing that is true.
How many people are reading that guy?
The team. I don't know. You know what? If that affects the team, then I got a lot of questions about Robert Saleh, because he has to be a strong enough coach where that crap doesn't cause dissension in the locker room.
Yeah. And let me add this off. Let me piggyback off you again.
Yep.
How many people read that guy in Green Bay compared to how many people follow the Jets?
Packers are a national team, though. That's it.
They are.
Packers,
Yes.
Packers have a national fault. There are more Packers fans than Jets fans. I'm willing to bet that. Packers are a national team. They are
our media. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think it's something that I want to. We have something good going. We have something good and young growing. I don't think that putting, like I said, you give me 2 years, I'll deal with the nonsense because I know I got a 2-year run. I don't want it. We start off bad. Someone gets injured, an ACL, back-to-back plays in Denver. Things can change very quickly, and 1 year is not worth. Look at Tom Brady went a decade without winning Super Bowl. He went a decade. Like, it's not guaranteed. Even when you had Tom Brady, you went a decade without a Super Bowl. So 1 year is not. You're not playing high school basketball and you just bring in the most talented kid from the next county, and all of a sudden you're going to win a title.
I am so glad you made that reference, because now I'm going to piggyback again. I know this is probably a bit of a sore subject, but I'm going to ask you the question. Can you make a comparison to the Jets bringing in Aaron Rodgers
and the Nets? Yeah.
Is that comparable to the Nets? Is that comparable to Kyrie, KD, and James Harden, Ben Simmons?
Injuries, right? Harden, Durant, and Irving only played 16 games together. So as much as you tried to make something mesh and work, the personalities were too big, the egos were too big, and it didn't work. So I think that's a great example and analogy to bring up, is that you can want something to work. You can hope something's going to work. But when you have all those moving parts and you have that dynamic and you have guys getting hurt and you got Harden out there by himself and he's getting tired of trying to carry a team with guys he doesn't want to play with, he's going to demand out. He's going to retire early, referring to Rodgers. Mm-hmm. I'd rather want someone who says, I want to be there. I want to put my name to paper for 4 years. I want to help continue what you're building. I want to be a part of it. I'm not going to say I had never said anything in my career. This is Carr, of course, I'm referencing. I've never said anything to be a lightning rod in the media. I've always done the right thing as a teammate. This is the locker room I want to be in. This is a locker room that I can succeed in. This is a locker room that I can help develop and help grow. That's the guy I want. That's me. I don't care if he's homegrown. I don't care if he's drafted. I know a lot of New York fans. I'm a Yankee fan. The Yankee fans are obsessed with homegrown talent. I don't care. Give me the right guy, put him in the building with the other right people, and grow something beautiful together with it. It doesn't have to be a Jet draft pick for me.
So
that's just my take, for whatever that's worth to anybody.
Yeah, look. To me, it's get me the freaking ring. That's all I care about. Jeremy, Adam, Nick, is there a dark horse quarterback who you'll like? Who you like that nobody's talking about? Give us one name, like for example, Tyler Huntley, and he's a guy.
He's under contract. He's under contract.
I thought so.
He is. If they move Jackson, they're saying that's their dude this year.
Oh, I thought he was going to be a free agent. Okay, so I thought he was going to be a free agent.
Restricted. Maybe restricted. So if they move Lamar, I'll pull it up. Adam, you got it?
I'll pull it up.
I see you. I see you looking down.
Already. You always know when my eyes are going down. You know what's on my mind.
Yeah, I do, buddy. That's what she said. But I'm pretty sure that Huntley is either restricted or under contract. I think he was just year 2 or 3, so I don't think he's been in the league 4 years.
I feel like he's been the Ravens backup for a while. No, this is only he's an RFA. After
Tricky.
23.
After 23.
After 23. It looks like, yeah, he signed
Yeah, so he's
signed
yeah,
a
this
1
would
year.
be his 4th year then. This would be his 4th year in the
yeah.
NFL.
He signed 1 year, 895,000. Then he's an RFA.
Okay.
So,
But just an example.
I'd have to look at the list.
I mean, everybody stopped talking about Jimmy G. I'm not.
Jimmy G's another level up. No, Jimmy G's not a dark horse.
Right. He's not a dark horse.
He's my number 3.
Yeah.
Right.
He's my clear number 3.
Clear number 3. And what about Danny Dimes?
Matt Ryan?
No.
I don't know how far down.
The only person who wants Matt Ryan on the Jets is Sal Licata on WFAN. He is the only person.
Matt Ryan would be a 1 year if it was. I'm not saying I want it or the Jets would do it, but if they brought him in, it means it's 1 year and they're hoping Zach is ready. That's what that would be.
I mean,
all right,
Rush. I can make an argument for Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush?
When he played in Dallas, I mean, we're talking dark horse. We're going down a level here. I mean, I like Jacoby Brissett too, but I think that's another level up.
I'll go down the names on Spot Rack.
Yeah. We'll just say yay or nay.
Let's draw a line when we get to a dark horse, right?
Okay.
Derek Carr, Carson Wentz, Tom Brady, Marcus Mariota. I think dark horse is a guy who hasn't really been a starter in the league before. Will we agree with that parameter? Like
barely started, but has upside that's been untapped, something like that. That kind of guy. Yeah.
So Daniel Jones, would we consider that a dark horse?
No.
He's
established in my mind now.
Okay. Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think we go back that way, but I mean, for Teddy to emerge as a starter, I think would be a dark horse. Like
he's definitely a dark horse in this conversation.
And then it drops to there's Mayfield and Darnold. I don't think we go there with either one.
And then make an argument for Mayfield. I mean, compared to some of the others, I don't hate the idea.
I can't because of the Rodgers argument that I made. If he was a lightning rod for the media in Cleveland, it's going to be unbearable here.
Yeah.
All right. Case Keenum, Mason Rudolph, Jacoby Brissett, Geno Smith.
Geno would have been a dark horse until this year.
If Seattle decides, hey, good luck to you, we're going to go for a quarterback. We finally have a top pick for the first time in 15 years. We're going to go for it. Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton would be a dark horse, I think, right? Like if he.
Dalton has been an established starter, though.
What about Jameis Winston?
I kind of like Heineke. I like him, but you know what? You put it this way: you know what his floor is. It's a decent floor, but his ceiling is rather low.
Yeah,
he is exactly what he is. To me, that's a perfect backup quarterback. Perfect backup, excellent backup quarterback.
Yeah, excellent.
But maybe he'll get you to the playoffs, but that's like in a weak division. To me, that's what Taylor Heineke is. But I like him.
The rest of the guys, I think are third level or third strings. Nick Mullins, Drew Lock, Brandon Allen, Josh Allen, Nate Sudfeld, Nathan Peterman.
Which Josh Allen are you talking? Did you say Josh Allen? I know you said Josh Allen.
Josh Johnson and Brandon Allen are next to one another. And Josh's first name.
There, Nick.
Did I say Brandon Johnson?
You said Josh Allen.
But then I would have had to say Brandon Johnson to have the other.
Somebody in the chat, please rewind this about 20 seconds and let us know. Brandon Allen and Josh
Johnson are right next to one another. And I read the first and the last.
Every time I see the name Nate Sudfeld, I think of Zach Sudfeld, like baby Gronk when the Jets had – he was supposed to be the next Gronk for like 3 years. Remember that? Oh, my gosh. Ugh.
So I would
we had a couple guys there that, we had a little bit of interest in, but –
no,
nothing that's going to excite you all that much.
No.
We don't have a first-time GM rolling the dice on a veteran, hoping that we tank to get a quarterback next year. We have a GM and a staff and a front office that are, I said right after the season, we're all in for quarterback, and I'll give them any resources that they need to go get him. So I don't think we settle for a dark horse. There's no way, no how.
Yeah, to me, if they don't get one of the top three, to me, it's Rodgers, it's Carr, it's Garoppolo. Any other option, and I'm going to feel tremendously disappointed because I can make an argument that Garoppolo could work here. And I'm going to say it again with the injuries. I've said it again and again. It's mostly lower body injuries, and that's different with a quarterback than a Lamar Jackson who needs to run in order to win. If Garoppolo had neck issues, shoulder issues, back issues, I'd be a lot more worried. Most of it has been calf strains, the broken ankle when, Jalen Phillips drove his knee into the outside of Garoppolo's foot. Somehow that makes him injury prone. That's like the equivalent of Mekhi Becton getting rolled up on by his offensive lineman it's kind of what that was because the blocker couldn't hold off Jalen Phillips. It's not as if it was a non-contact injury. So I actually do have more confidence in Garoppolo than most, but he is still my clear 3.
Matthew Smith said strength of schedule is so overrated. Go tell the NFC East that cakewalk through the season this year with the easiest schedule ever.
And what AFC division played the NFC South this year? I'm sure they appreciated it when they had to play that division. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I there's not many that I'd be happy at all. I mean, when we talk about them, there's no real, like, none of those names out of that top 4 guys, 5 guys that we're saying weren't considered dark horse is very appealing, to be honest. I mean,
great quarterback, good quarterbacks don't get to free agency that often. Great ones almost never do.
Yeah, there's not a lot there.
That's the game.
Yeah. I mean, and it does get to a certain point. Someone said it in the chat before, and they're right. It gets to a certain point where you just, as hard as this is to say, it gets to a point where you're just better off rolling with Zach and hoping year 3 is he shows growth. Like at some point you're just like, okay, maybe we just better than that guy. We just hope our 24-year-old quarterback, that we drafted, that we saw has some talent and ability, like puts it together, with better coaching and a better offensive line. And, at some point you got to say that I don't want Marcus Mariota in there. I'm sorry. It's just not an answer to me.
If Marcus Mariota is the answer, I dread what the question is.
Right. I never forget. He played one good game for the Raiders. He came in, played a game and a half or something for the Raiders and wasn't horrible. And people had him as a real starter and said, oh, he's good. He's good. It's amazing how fast people jump on that ship.
How about that draft? I mean, when 1 and 2 are Winston and Mariota, and they turned out to be average at best.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was not the best draft.
Sometimes you get Burrow, Tua, and Herbert as your top 3. Other times you get Sanchez and
well, you had Stafford, but after that was J.P. Lossman, and I remember
Trubisky's under contract. I saw Trubisky's name pop up. Did you say him too, Adam?
Somebody in the chat mentioned Trubisky.
Yeah, no, he's under contract with Pitt for 1 more year. It's $8 million. If he gets cut, it's $10 million.
There you go. Wow, imagine paying $10 million in a dead cap hit because of Mitch Trubisky.
That was a weird sign.
I think he's a guy who, in the right situation, could succeed. He took Matt Nagy to the playoffs twice with no offense. I think what he did in 2 playoff runs, and I know the defense was very good, but still, he in the right situation, I think he could be a guy. I'm not saying I want that situation to be us or we ever take the chance on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he pops up and has like a Rich Gannon revival maybe later in his career with the right coach and the right system and the right players around him. And he went to North Carolina, so I'll always root for that.
That's 8:30. What's up, brother? Good to see you here. Beth Page Pritch, we didn't say hi to you officially before, so what's up, Beth Page? Chris.
Which is this?
Bethpage, home of Optimum, my former company, Optimum, now in Bethpage, Long Island.
I remember because I went to Stony Brook, so I know Bethpage. I drove on all those different little freeways and highways that connected the northern state and the LIE and the southern state and all that stuff. The Wantagh Parkway and all that stuff. I used to know
the LIE is what I used to do when my ex-wife would ask me, "What did you do last night?"
LIE.
A lie.
Hey, we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. Nick, I know that you're doing your podcast again or whatever. You want to talk about that and let people know?
Mondays and Thursdays from like 4 to 6 on the IOW Sports Network. We do an all around sports show. I'm not on my Proud New York Jets channel yet. Maybe next couple weeks, maybe sometime in March. Fridays are going to be tough in March with college basketball on. I am a big college basketball fan, just because I hate the NBA game and what it's become. So,
who's your prediction to win the ACC tournament? I know you're a UNC guy, but who do you think is going to win the tournament?
We just beat Virginia by like 8. We played really good defense against Virginia, and we protected the rim a lot. I don't want to say Carolina because
I'll
put it this way: if Carolina can put it all together with the talent that they have and play with defensive effort, they can maybe make a run in the tournament. Duke going undefeated at home was impressive, but as you know, the tournament's on the road. Sometimes it's at the Barclays, sometimes it's in Greensboro.
I think it's in Greensboro. It's in Greensboro.
Yeah, it alternates, like Greensboro, North Carolina, Barclays. Something. One year it was in the Garden,
which made no sense at all. But
no, but when you're the Big East doesn't draw anything, you can have that.
I miss Big East basketball from the 80s so much. Oh, there was nothing like Big. If you haven't seen, I will say this, guys. If you haven't seen Requiem for the Big East, the 30 for 30, they still show it on ESPNU. Oh my God, one of the best documentaries I've ever watched. Oh, so good.
But when you were asking about the tournament, did you mean the ACC tournament?
Just ACC. I wasn't going to ask for the whole tournament.
I mean, I would say Virginia, if they play the way they're capable of playing. Miami's athleticism is really good. If they put it all together, and then, you know, when you get in these tournaments where you're playing multiple games in a row, stamina, guards with the ability to shoot off the dribble and create are really, really big. Miami's got that. I would say Virginia and Miami would probably be the two that I think could come out of it, win the ACC. But if
Clemson impressed me. Clemson impressed me the way they manhandled NC State, because you know, like the Wolfpack, way they manhandled them was scary.
They beat Carolina pretty well too when I saw that game. So that's another one. So I think the ACC is as open as it's been in a long time. You know, when Roy was there, Carolina and Coach K, you waited for Carolina or Duke, and then some years a Florida State would step up and win it out of the blue, right? So
right.
All right, Adam, what do you got going on before we go?
Wow, I posted 3 videos in the last 24 hours. I did one on breaking down Francisco Alvarez, the Mets top prospect. I did one on analyzing the Patrick Kane trade to the New York Rangers. He will be making his debut tomorrow night against the Ottawa Senators, by the way. And today I put in my free agency video. I took a look at 15 different free agents that the Jets could target. 11 of whom are value free agents, meaning I think they're going to cost less than $10 million a year. We know we need to be a little more cost efficient. It's about a 20-minute video. I broke down 15 different players. I think in the near future, I'm going to do a breakdown on the Jets' own free agents and what I would do with each of those players. So check it out, NY Sports Wicker Media.
Love it, love it. And we'll both be back on Thursday. Think of it tomorrow on Green Bean Channel, Green Bean Jet Fan. And I'll be back on Sunday evening with Dom C, where we'll be going over defensive tackles. So we're going to be going over the defensive tackles, top 10 defensive tackles in this upcoming draft, according to Dom C's rankings. You know, that's always a good show. And also look for me on the weekend on Green Bean Jets Fan. We're going to be covering some of the combine. So look for that, because we'll be doing a hangout and we'll be looking at some of the combine. That'll be fun too.
Hey, nothing for you Friday night?
Nothing yet. So, but everybody knows.
Let's announce it. I'll announce it. I'll do a show Friday night on my channel. Proud New York Jets fans.
Proud New York Jets
combine talk. It'll be strictly combine talk, and maybe that Thursday we signed our quarterback.
And there you go, everybody.
So Friday night, Proud New York Jets fans.
That's Friday night. So you got Thursday night, Friday night. You got the combine on Saturday. We got the Sunday night with Tom C. You got videos from WA2K. It's just entertainment galore. Guys, thanks for being on the show. Another great show. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys make it great. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Don't not be Thibodeau. And here it comes. It's about to come in. Oh my God. They didn't. They took Sauce Gardner. Oh my God, they don't want an edge. Maybe he likes Jermaine Johnson at 10. Then we're not going to get a wide receiver?
Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. Oh my God, no edge.
Who's sitting there
The Jets traded up. The Jets traded up. Are we taking JJ? Are we taking JJ? Because I know Braden is in New Zealand saying, we should get 9, Mike. He's definitely saying that. JJ! We got Johnson! We got Johnson at 26! We got Johnson at 26! This is great! Yes! They took Roger McCreary, they didn't take Dean, and we traded up. We can get the Kobe Dean. We can get the Kobe Dean. It really is. They took Breece Hall. They took Breece Hall. Wow. I mean, look, I love Breece Hall. But there's also Jeremy Ruckert, who I think is the best tight end in the class personally. They took Jeremy Ruckert. They took Jeremy Ruckert. Yes! We got a Jeremy. We got a Jeremy. Oh, and the Jets pick, and it's Max Mitchell, offensive tackle. We needed that. That's wow. We took Michael Clemens. I never heard of him. A defensive edge.